Did not participate was Anderson hamstring, Bergstrom knee, ankle, Ioannidis shin, McCoy fibula, Zach Brown illness. Limited were Peterson shoulder, Roulier knee, Moses ankle, and Trent Williams thumb wrist.
Jay, there's obviously reports about Alex coming out about his situation and all that. What can you let us know about what's going on with him and concern for his future?
Yeah, I think the statement says it all. You know, I was asked by Alex's wife, his dad, his mom, and not to really go into any detail on this process. Has to respect their privacy. That's what I'm going to do. So I think when the time is right, Alex will address the media, and we'll go from there.
How does Ioannidis look as you head towards Sunday at this point?
Ioannidis went to see a doctor, another specialist, and should get it checked out and make sure there's nothing else wrong with it, and hopefully we'll get some good news this evening.
Has the middle of the week brought any more clarity about Colt and whether he might be able to return and how his surgery has gone?
No, I think we'll let it play out. You know, he had the surgery. Everything went well. He came by the facility today. He'll come by again tomorrow. But, you know, I think, you know, you have wishful thinking that maybe it's a 3-week type deal. And, you know, probably realistically it might be a little longer. But we're going to hold out hope.
Defensively, it seems like you guys just aren't getting the impact plays you did in the first part of the season. Anything you can put your finger on, anything you'd like to see improved this weekend?
Yeah, that's something we have to do. You know, Philadelphia came out, opening drive, went down the field, got a touchdown, and put us in the hole right away. So one thing we have to do is start fast. And we've played very well at our 6 games that we've won. We've played very good with the lead. I believe the 6 games that we've lost, obviously we haven't had the lead because we lost the game. So we got to do a better job starting fast. That's number one. And then obviously when plays present themselves and we have opportunities to make plays, we got to make them. And we got to do a better job putting our players in better positions to make plays. And at the end of the day, you know, we got to beat the man in front of us and wrap up and make tackles.
Jay, do you have a better idea of who will be where at guard?
No, we've mixed and matched a lot of different scenarios here. You know, we messed around with Ty in there. Zach just got here. He played a little bit today. So we'll take a look at it. Rainey played some center today. Chase got a few reps, but not many. So we're going to go through the evaluation process, kind of like early in the season, and try to figure it out. Hopefully by Sunday, we'll get it done though. We have good options.
Jay, going through this quarterback situation with the injuries, you've in the past have kept 3. The last couple of years you haven't. Has going through this changed your idea at all of like going forward wanting to have 3, or do you still view it as situational?
Yeah, I think it just depends. You know, if you have the luxury of keeping 3 on your 53-man roster, it'd be great. But a lot of times with injuries at certain positions, it's hard to keep 3. You know, you got to be. Then you'd be short at another position, and if something happens at that position, then you have to make cuts at another position, and it's a domino effect. You know, if you ideally you'd like to keep one on the practice squad, which we tried with Hogan, but he got claimed, and after that we just didn't have room to fit one in here, and you know, I just figured if something happened to the 2 guys that we had, that we have to get a veteran guy in here anyway and get him taught up. So that's basically what we've had to do. But in a perfect world, when everybody's healthy, you keep 3 on your 53. We just haven't had that luxury the last couple of years.
What do you see as Mark's strengths are on the field? Obviously, there's the playoff experience and kind of what he brings off it, but just what you've observed, you know, playing and through a couple of days of practice.
Yeah, it's hard to get a really great evaluation. I just met him about 10 days ago, so, but, you know, this is first couple of days where he's actually got the lion's share of the reps, and I think he's done a pretty good job so far. You know, it's you know, when you're sitting in the meetings, you're nodding your head, yeah, I got it. Then you go out here, you know, there's some things we got to fight through. And the most important thing that I have to do and our offensive staff has to do is make him comfortable. He's got to be comfortable. Whatever the play is, he's got to be able to call it, spit it out, and execute the play. So that's what we're trying to just get done. We're trying to rep as many plays as we can, either walk through or practice, and make sure he's comfortable in the plays that we're trying to design for the defenses we're going to see. But he's a very smart guy. He's been through the process. He knows how to work and prepare. And got to feel confident that he can get it done.
Along those lines, Mark talked the other day about the Venn diagram of the things that you know work well for the skill guys that are here and the things that he's comfortable with and trying to find that overlap. How do you feel like that process is going, and what are you kind of thinking about when you find those plays and those concepts?
Yeah, same thing. You know, ideally you're trying to get certain guys. You remember this play from training camp? No, he wasn't here. So he understands who our go-to guys are. He understands the skill set that Jordan Reed has and Chris Thompson, and obviously the speed that Vernon Davis has and Josh Doxson's skill set and Jameson Crowder in the slot. He's just getting to know these guys, and now it's about location, getting the ball out and reading coverage and getting the ball to the right person. So I think he's so far. I've been surprised. I've been pleased with what he's going through right now and how he's going through the process. Made some mistakes today, but he also made some great throws today.
Similar to that, what would you say is the biggest challenge for receivers in adjusting to a new quarterback this week? I mean, just talking to Jordan and Chris and how they have to adapt to a new cadence and then obviously new throw trajectory and everything.
The cadence is the biggest issue right now, and I'm about to go crazy right. We had a couple false starts out here today. We have to get that really cleared up. You got to really be consistent with your cadence. You have to be able to change it up. Because you give Oliver Vernon and these defensive linemen for the Giants, hey, it's on one every time. I mean, they will kill our tackles no matter how good they are. They'll get the jump. So we have to change the cadence up. That's been the biggest issue right now, and we're working through that. The more reps we get, I think we'll be ready by Sunday. But other than that, I think receivers got to run the routes and trust the ball's going to be there on time. There's some anticipation issues we're going through right now, and that's to be expected. But I think come Sunday, I think we'll have pretty good grasp. But their job is to run the routes that we call at the right depth, coming out at the right breaking point, the right angles coming out of it, beating man coverage, knowing zone, and it's the quarterback's job to get it to them.
Jay, was that a longer than usual huddle you guys had there at the end of practice? And if so, what precipitated it?
Yeah, I mean, were you peeking out the window there? Oh, yeah. I had a few things to say today. It's week 13. We're 6-6, and I just got to make sure that we're all on the right page here, on the same page, and doing what we're supposed to do to get ready for a football game. And I think our guys are, this time of year, you can, imagine that when you have 63 guys out here practicing, there's going to be a few, there could be some griping and moaning going on around here. We had pads on today for the first part of practice. We had to check out our new linemen, and people weren't happy about that. And yesterday practice, they weren't happy. We just played on Monday night, but there's a lot of things that we have to get done from an offensive standpoint. We have to look at some guys in different positions, and I let them know we got a game to win. That's all. But it was normal.
You had mentioned the false start. It seems like penalties offensively have really set you back this year. Anything you can put your finger on as to why that would be the case? Yeah,
it's been the biggest problem that we've had, quite honestly. I don't know how many holding calls we've had. I'm sure we're leading the league by a long shot, and it's been a major problem. And some of the calls that we've had called on us, we get back and they weren't calls. So it's hard to say that they're not being taught right, sometimes. But for whatever reason, people are looking at our holding calls a little bit closer and they're calling them. And we have to just understand we got to get our hands off. We got to get our hands inside and run our feet, and then not take people to the ground. So that's been a problem, and it's been addressed. We talk about it all the time. I know Coach Callahan's a great offensive line coach, and we teach great technique here, fundamentals, but we've been called. But the false starts, that's inexcusable. That's something that is a discipline issue, and that falls directly on the head coach, and just focusing in. We got to focus in a little bit better.
Jay, Reuben Foster's accuser spoke her story today. Does that change anything from the organization's perspective?
No, he's on commissioner's exempt, and we're not even going to talk about Reuben right now. Anything else? All right, thank you. Oh, really?
All right. Here we go.
I'll go first. Just with some of these injuries and absences and shuffling around, what message do you communicate to make sure everybody's still on the same page coming into this weekend?
Well, I think that's the biggest thing is we all got to be on the same page when we go out in practice, out in the meeting rooms, and especially on a game day, when we're playing. Is that communication is vital, and we all got to be on the same page, and that's what we're expecting on Sunday.
Have you noticed that teams are adjusting off, like the way they are attacking you after earlier in the season you guys were so successful?
Yeah, I think everybody, they have a game plan. They're going to go through it, and we have to make adjustments on the sidelines, which we do. But, every team's going to be a little bit different here and there. And, we work on things that maybe have hurt us in the past, and we got to work on those and get better at them. And just got to make sure we make tackles in the open field. And we got to make sure we get the ball carriers down.
What is happening with the tackling right now? I mean, how is that suddenly? It seemed like a strength earlier in the year.
Yeah, I think, it just comes down to better angles, and trying to hone that guy in. Playing good running backs, we got to make sure that we hone them in, and we got to get them down to the ground. That's the biggest thing, come into balance when you're about to take a shot.
It seems like a lot of times guys are trying to go to knock a fumble out, knock the ball out of guys' hands,
Yep.
and maybe there's yards after that. Is that a problem right now?
No, I think, you always try to get the ball out. That's what we're trying to do from a possession standpoint. Teams have it 12, 13 times. If we can get as many as we can, that's the biggest thing. But I think it's usually that second person that comes in should be the one that's being able to strip the ball and try to get it out compared to the first guy.
Did you notice Matt Ioannidis' absence was pretty large last week, and how have you felt Stacy and Tim have kind of stepped up in his place?
When you have a performer like Matt, that has had a good season across the board, and has played pretty well, with the other guys that are stepping in, they're getting in tune, they're getting their reps in, but Matt being there, hopefully this week we can get him back, and we'll see from there.
When HaHa was initially acquired, you guys had said there might be a rotation between the three safeties. After seeing how this has played out, could you see Monte re-entering some kind of rotation there, or is the plan to stick with those two guys at this point?
I think there's a little bit of rotation going on. We'll see that.
With HaHa, acknowledging that obviously it's very hard to switch teams mid-season, what does he need to do to get to the level you guys expect him to play
I
at?
think just trying to be on the same page with everybody, from a call perspective, sometimes there's little things that we do, and I think that's very important that he gets it, and he's been growing the last couple of weeks.
Is there anything you can do as a coordinator, as a play caller, to make the communication easier for your guys if you see that there is consistent mistakes?
Yeah, we're going to cut down some calls, and see and let them play fast. That's what we want to see on Sunday. All right, guys. Thanks.